You know what? I'll try to teach you guys a little bit about sandstone. Again, I'm no professional. If I get things wrong, please correct me in the comments. Sandstone is a type of sedimentary rock. There's so many different sandstone types, it's gotta be over 1,000. Sandstone is generally made up of sand-sized particles or even smaller. Location is very important. Specifically here, we have a lot more magnetic sandstones. This specific sandstone has some pretty big cleavage planes. Cleavage planes are the reflective surfaces of minerals. To me, the reflective surface looks a lot like muscovite. Muscovite is a type of mica that is generally found in igneous rocks. Igneous rock minerals can be found within sandstones. However, it's generally really eroded and or too small to see with the naked eye. Not to mention, this rock is highly magnetic. So if I had to guess, this definitely would not be a muscovite, but I do have a couple guesses. My best guesses are magnetite, hematite, or some sort of other magnetic mineral that I don't know about. However, the rock can definitely hold the magnet no problem. Here's another type of sandstone. In fact, this is more of a quartz sandstone, which quartz is super common in sandstones. Honestly, this rock might be more closer to a quartz than an actual sandstone, but I'm pretty sure it is a sandstone. Quartz is really common in sandstones because it's pretty tough and it doesn't really break down. Erosion usually breaks down weaker minerals, kind of like muscovite. Cleavage plane minerals on generally igneous rocks generally are really weak and erode really quickly, which is why you don't really see them in sandstones. Another important characteristic of sandstone is they generally have wavy parts in it, or like some sort of like banding you can see. That's generally just how the sandstone was formed throughout time. Unfortunately, I didn't take any specimens like that. And finally, to my last piece of sandstone. On first appearance, this rock honestly looks a lot more like granite. In fact, this could be a granitic sandstone. Honestly, with the camera, it's hard to tell, but this yellow is definitely not a feldspar, which would be common in granite, which kind of gives it a color kind of similar to this. However, it's just generally a little bit too yellow for that. More importantly, it doesn't really have any cleavage planes, or at least on the outside. But on the inside, there's definitely a different story. Here's why it's definitely a sandstone. Just look at that. It's a crystal, like an actual crystal kind of. It's kind of like my first sandstone, however, it's not magnetic, which means it can't be the same. Here's what's more important. The crystals are kind of random, different sizes, and only in certain spots in the rock, which means it can't be an igneous intrusive rock. In igneous intrusive rocks, the minerals are kind of like the same size, generally more round, and they're just kind of everywhere. It's not impossible as this might be like a type of igneous extrusive rock, but honestly, I'm pretty sure it's a sandstone. To be honest, I'm not even sure if any of these rocks are sandstones. The information is more important. That's pretty much it. I'll see you guys later.